Hi, my name is Ariel Fitz-Patrick, and today I am at Acts of the Spirit Pentecostal Church in Montreal, Quebec, where I have received an amazing opportunity to interview a man who has touched the lives of many individuals, not only here in Quebec, Canada, but also all over the world.
Dr. Terrance Jenkins is the founder and president of the Montreal School of Ministry. He holds several theological degrees as well as a PhD and a master's degree in counseling. He is also a licensed psychotherapist and counselor. Dr. Jenkins spent 10 years traveling extensively throughout countries such as Canada, the United States, India, Trinidad, and Jamaica in evangelism. He has planted 3 successful churches in Canada, pastored 3 others, and has had the distinction of being a National Bible College CEO. He spent several years as a drug and alcohol addictions counselor and has written 8 books, 6 of which are published. In his current position, Dr. Jenkins oversees the Bible Training Center, writes courses and syllabi, and assists students in their educational pursuits. He is a member of the American Biblical Counselors Association, listed in Cambridge, and World's Who's Who for Lifetime Achievement in Christian Service, and is also a missionary evangelist traveling around the world.
Hi, Dr. Jenkins. I'd first like to start by saying that it's an absolute pleasure having you here today and that you took time out of your busy schedule to be with us for this purpose.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So what were you doing prior to the travels that you're doing actually right now at this time?
Prior to getting involved in missions and traveling the world as I do now, I had trained, of course, through much Bible college training, earned several degrees. Then I began to plant churches. I planted 3 churches in Canada, reestablished a couple of others that were broken. Then aside from that, I became the CEO of a Bible school in Ontario, taught in 2 other Bible schools in Ontario, and while pastoring a church in Nova Scotia was when I got my first call to go to Jamaica. But at the present time, getting up to where we are right now, and in the last 2 or 3 years, I was actually crippled and moved from Nova Scotia to Quebec because I was suffering in my body with much pain and unable to do anything, and was told I would not get better and I would not work again. But then the Lord graciously healed that, so that the doors began to open, and in between the doors opening and my coming here, I then began Montreal School of Ministry, where now we are training men and women for ministry. Also took several people into ministry and got them started, and now have churches.
So how would these missions impact your life personally?
That's a great question. The first time when I went to Jamaica, it didn't really impact me so much because someone else was there, someone else was doing all the orchestrating behind the scenes, and all I did then was just simply go into a church and speak. But when I went to India, that was a whole different ball game, if you would. Because there we met with all of the orphans, visited orphanage homes. We went to see where many widows lived, seniors, and the impact of that, and what I saw the people living in, and yet not complaining, they're happy. And that had an impact on my life, where I came back with this statement, and I'm not so sure it was a nice statement, because my language is not always really nice, but my statement was, if you think you do ministry in Canada is a joke. If you really want to do ministry and see ministry, you need to go to India or to Africa, where I've been. In Africa in particular as well, we visited into some of the slums, and saw some of the children with their bellies bloated from not enough to eat, ladies that have to cook and wash their clothing outside because in a lot of those places there's not a window in a little shack that they live. It's like a mud shack with just a little very narrow doorway that they can go in there and sleep, but then everything else is done on the outside. And yet they seem to be so happy, though yet hungry and getting sometimes one meal a day, sometimes not a meal for that day. Here, everybody has everything. And as a result, they become, what's the word that I'm looking for? They become disgruntled, they become unhappy, and if they don't get what they want now, it's like, I'm entitled to this. There's an entitlement mentality, if you would. Where over there, they don't have an entitlement mentality. They're just so happy with what they get. We talk to pastors, we minister to pastors that would have one meal a day. And they were so happy to have that one meal a day. No complaints whatsoever. And in places like India where we were, the power is out almost 14 hours a day. They have no electricity. And yet they're so happy.
And we complain when the TV goes off for just like a couple of seconds.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So Dr. Jenkins is truly doing a great thing all over the world. And even in here in Quebec. It's amazing. It's right here at home. So in closing, I just want to know, although it's been many years and you've done a lot so far, what do you dream of accomplishing?
That's a good question, but had you asked me that a few years ago, I may have been able to say, I have this dream of doing this and this and this and this and so on, but I have done so much more than I ever dreamed was a possibility to do. In your case, you know some of the things I've done. I've written books that are published and being translated. Some of them are translated now into Tamil language, some are translated into Telugu language in different parts of the world. They're being used in South Africa to teach, and I've not been to South Africa, but my books are there, being used to train men and women for ministry. And so then the travels beside that, starting a Bible school was never a part of a dream that I had. And yet I've done this and so much more. I never dreamed of doing any of this. When I began ministry, I thought I would simply be a pastor in a church, and that would basically be it. The rest, I guess about the best way I know to put this, the rest was God's dream for my life that I didn't know about. And I just simply did what I felt I should do at the time. At the time. Without any thought of where it would go, where it would take me. It's just, you do, I firmly believe that if you do what you can do, when you can do it, God will then bring you to where He wants you to be, when He wants you to be there, and you will make an impact into the life of those around you.
Wow. So you have gone above and beyond what you could have ever imagined for accomplishing.
That sounds like a scripture.
So thank you again, Dr. Jenkins, for being with us. It was a pleasure again. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.